Well, a fortnight after his announcement as the University of the Witwatersrand incoming Vice-Chancellor, Professor Zeblon Vilakazi has started assuming some responsibilities by managing the institution's internal processes. And sharing their plan in a joint virtual meeting, the outgoing Vice-Chancellor, Professor Habib, said that the appointment of Vilakazi not only enhances the institution's transformation profile, but it also advances excellence because of his contributions to global research. Now, Habib said that Vilakazi is one of the most cited researchers who has led South Africa's interventions in science, is recognized in global academia, and is a world-class scientist. Professor Zeblon Vilakazi, who is currently Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research and Postgraduate Studies, will fully assume his role in January 2021. But he joins us now via Skype to talk about his new position. Thanks so much for your time and welcome to Morning Live, Professor Vilakazi.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here.
First off, congratulations, and how are you responding to this milestone? Not only for you personally, but also as a great dynamic for country's transformation.
Thank you. First, let me say that I'm grateful to the Vice-Chancellor, and also the way I'm taking it is that I'm letting it soak in first. And start to plan for the next 5 years going forward. As you're aware, we are going through a bit of a transition at the moment in Professor Habib and myself, a process that we are quite well. And I'm also delighted with this appointment has been all quarters and across the world.
Now, Professor Vilakazi, you've already made your views known in terms of exactly where you would like to take Wits University. But perhaps for those who haven't been able to see it or haven't heard it, can you just give it to us again in a nutshell?
Briefly, Sakena, is that South Africa, or Africa broadly, has never been at the forefront of knowledge generation. The whole of the African continent generates around 1% globally. And you look at the United States, with only 2% of the world's population, but generating almost a quarter of the world's knowledge. That translates into the amount of technology and the innovations that you see that allow us to communicate, get produced by nations that are leading the world in knowledge generation. So I think I'd like to take this to be at the level where it now converts all the research, most of the research it does, into something that is innovative. So I want to move into an innovation era that will allow our students and our academics to produce new devices that help enhance the world.
To that point, Professor Vilakazi, if you take Wits, Wits has a research hub. How is that utilized in supporting the outcomes that you talk about and the outcomes that we so sorely need, not only as a country, but as a continent as well? And perhaps just to take this further, if you listen to Professor PLO Lumumba, he accuses African institutions of not leading in research and innovation, and this despite the opportunities and also the mineral resources. We heard Dr. Bladen Zimande in the previous interview alluding to our biodiversity, but how we perhaps are not maximizing fully. So what exactly are the limitations? Why are we not taking pride of place?
I think in terms of research, many South African institutions have done fairly well. There's been a rise in the amount of research productivity coming out. Now, the question is, we are late in the game. We can't be too harsh on ourselves. So now we need to leapfrog and take the next step forward. I'll tell you two things that play to our advantage. Number one is the market is not saturated. We are still a new market. And secondly, we have our biggest asset, which is the demographic dividend, that we have the largest population of young people who just need to be exposed to opportunities that will allow them to actually innovate. We cannot prescribe. It's not medication that you can say, here's a prescription. You just got to create an enabling environment that will allow the next generation to take advantage. They're a very creative generation. You just got to ensure that the spaces are there. In the case of Wits, you've got Braamfontein Digital Innovation Precinct that already, the so-called the Semolokgong precinct, that is already laying the groundwork for us to take a step forward and realize the vision that I've articulated.
And if you look at a country like ours, we look at the high levels of unemployment as an example, Professor Vilakazi. What role do you see institutions like Wits University playing in bridging the gap between, for example, the curriculum and programs and skills that are currently needed in the workplace?
Yes, thank you. I think this cannot only be done by Wits. I mean, it's partnership with Wits, the University of Johannesburg, with whom we are working towards creating an innovation bridge, and the University of Pretoria and other national universities, the University of Cape Town and Stellenbosch and so on and so forth, and Forte. What you can do is ensure that there are these short courses, online programs that allow for lifelong learning. The way to cope in this era of fast, rapidly changing digital tech and innovation is to be a lifelong learner. That applies to both, even to myself, and to, a worker or an unemployed young person. Access to database is important, but there's so much information that is available for lifelong learning and self-improvement to allow you to leapfrog into the space. I mean, the barriers to entry are not that hard anymore. As long as you've got an access to a device, you'll be able to, access information that will allow you to grow in the area that you believe can contribute and use. You don't have to go to the library. You can just have appropriate devices that allow you to access all the information you need. And obviously, universities must create the right economies of scale to get young people working together, co-create and share expertise and knowledge and come up with new ideas.
Now, Professor, there is, of course, a view that the country's studies should focus on maths and science if we want to be at the forefront of innovation and technology. I know your interest in 4IR, for example, that I read about. So what's your view as a person who's known for your acumen in physics and nuclear research with regard to where our focus should be in our education curriculum?
Absolutely. I mean, we call them STEM fields, science, technology, engineering and medicine and math. Is important for a country like ours. However, I think that you don't only need the STEM fields to be an inventor, an entrepreneur. Steve Jobs, the inventor of Apple or co-inventor of Apple, was a humanities student. In fact, what is bizarre is that all the great inventors, of at least some of them, of the last 20 years, never had college degrees. So all you need to do is entrepreneurship. Obviously, having technical skills helps, and it's very important in a country like ours. But that's not the sole ingredient that you need. Drive, entrepreneurship, and thinking out of the box are the skills that we need in this era.
And couldn't agree with you more, Prof. And there's also, of course, room to improve for South Africa when it comes to research. And this, of course, not just in the low number of PhDs that the country produces, if we compare ourselves to countries such as Brazil, but also the quality of research, which has been a subject of criticism recently. Now, as an academic, does this worry you?
I wouldn't say that there's a challenge with quality of research. It's the quantity. I think that South African universities, I'm not saying this to be in denial, South African universities broadly, produce very good research.
Oh, unfortunately, we seem to have been frozen out again there. So we are going to unfortunately leave that particular interview there. And we were speaking to Professor Zeblon Vilakazi, and he's the incoming Vice-Chancellor of Wits University, sharing his vision, his aspiration, talk to us about how he's going to go about preparing to take over as the university's new Vice-Chancellor next year. So it heralds an exciting time for Wits University and for academics across the country as well.